Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to part 11 of the Chronological Read Through the Bible. Today we pick up in Genesis chapter 30, verse 25, and reading through chapter 31. Now, at this point, of course, Jacob is now in Panorama. He has already worked for, we kind of have the idea of at least 7 years for Leah, and is working another 7 years for Rachel. And now time has passed and he's ready to return home, and Laban says no. We would tend to think that this is at the end of now the 14 years. He tells him, no, you can't return home. You can't take my daughters, and what of all your animals? You can't take that, it's mine. And he then makes another deal with Laban and says, well, all of the striped and all of the speckled and all of the black, those will be mine, and the others, and Laban agrees to this, but Laban continues to change his wages. Could you imagine if your boss, your workplace, kept changing your wages and not for the better? And you would work hard, and then they would say, well, that's good, but you're going to have to do this. And so you would make the adjustment, and you would work hard, you'd be productive, they would prosper from your labor, and then they would still say, no, that's not good enough, you're going to have to do this too. And 10 times Jacob says that Laban changed his wages, and neither time was it good enough for Laban. And so eventually the Lord, after 20 years, he tells Jacob, he says, it's time for you to return to your father and to return to your family's land. And when he lays this out before Rebecca and Rachel and Leah, they agree. They say, well, what do we have of our father? And so the time comes that they pack up. And at this point, Rachel steals her father's idols, the gods of their household. And this shows at this point why she steals them, I don't know. But what we do learn is that it shows that Laban's heart was not on the true God. His heart was not on God, but his heart was on these false idols. That's what he served. And it never makes mention of Jacob serving any of these false idols or false gods or demons, really. I always point out to the children that we work with here, these aren't just idols, these are statues to demons. So keep that in mind. So the deceiver had become the deceived. He's now leaving. He slips away when Laban is not at home. And when Laban hears this, he musters up a group of his kinsmen and goes in a full pursuit of Jacob and his family. And we really get the full idea that he is coming to kill Jacob. He's ready to slaughter Jacob, and who knows who else would end up falling in that battle. Laban is not a just man. Laban is really very evil and wicked and deceptive. Why would God allow this to happen to Jacob? I think partly because Jacob had been that deceiver. God still protects Jacob and doesn't let Laban lay hands on him. God even speaks to Laban and tells Laban not to harm Jacob. So I think, again, that shows that intent there. Once Laban does catch up with Jacob, and they have their meeting, and Laban points out, why'd you steal my idols? Why'd you steal them, my gods, from their house? And Jacob says, not knowing that it was that it was Rachel who had stolen them, he says, well, if you find them in anyone's possession, you can kill them. Now, he doesn't know that it's his wife, his most loved wife, who had taken them. And Laban goes in search. He doesn't find them. Rachel. I'm going to keep saying Rebecca. I do apologize. Rachel, she says to him that she's in the way of women, and so please forgive me if I don't get up. And she's sitting on the saddlebags that contain the household gods. Again, why she took them, we don't know. I don't know if she took them to dishonor her father or to try to remove the evil from her father, or if she just wanted them. We don't really know that. So it's kind of interesting. That part leaves a bit of a mystery as to what took place. But what I wanted to focus on here is when Laban is addressing Jacob, he says, "The daughters are my daughters, and the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks, and all that you see is mine. But what can I do this day to these my daughters, or to their children whom they have borne?" Even up to the very last moment, Laban still sees all that as his. Even though he's the one who had said to Jacob at the very beginning, he said, "Name your wages, because it's not right for you to work for me and not be compensated." What kind of man is Laban? They set up a pillar of stones and basically make a covenant that they will not cross that pillar of stones with the intent to harm one another. They don't say that they won't cross the pillar, but they won't cross it with the intent to harm one another. Make sure when you are engaging in business dealings that you're doing so with men of honor and primarily men of faith, in the same sense of not being unequally yoked in marriage or in dating. It's better to not be unequally yoked in business dealings as well. We can be a strong witness to the world if, when we are dealing with business or just in everyday works with people, if the words that we say are the words that stand true. If you make an agreement, you need to do your best to stand behind that to the very end, even if it becomes inconvenient to you. Well, brothers and sisters, I hope you enjoyed today's read, and till tomorrow, God bless.